Okay, so this is gonna, at the beginning, it's gonna be a review really of the different parts of a circle. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. Then we're just gonna worry about circumference and area of circles. And the reason for this is because we're gonna go on to cones and cylinders in the next two lessons after this. So we're just gonna get the basics of a circle down so we can use it as the base of a prism, basically, or of a pyramid. So we're not getting into the angles of circles just yet. We'll get there in a couple of weeks. That'll be one of the last things we do. Okay, so let's label the basic parts of a circle here. So I'm going to start with A. So A, well, it's just a point on the circle. So point on the circle. So notice when I say on the circle, I mean on the edge, right? Not inside the circle. So the circle is just this collection of points that's around the center. Okay. B is also a point on the circle, right? E is also a point on the circle. In fact, all of these that are on the circle are points on the circle. So E right here is a point on the circle. F is an interior point, meaning it's inside of the circle, interior. So what do you think that's going to make G? Exterior point. It's on the outside of the circle. Okay. D, this arrow right here is pointing to the radius of the circle. Radius, and the radius of a circle is a segment, radius CD. This arrow right here is pointing to the center. We'll call it C. And that's also the name of the circle. So I'm just going to say also name of circle. So we name circles after their centers. And this last arrow here is pointing to the diameter. Notice the diameter is all the way across. It's also a line segment. AB. So a couple of formulas or ideas down here. The diameter is always twice the radius, making the radius half the diameter. Right? That's CD is half of AB. The circumference of a circle is defined as 2 pi times the radius or pi times diameter. Notice that 2 times the radius is the diameter. Right? So this is just saying the same thing. And then the area is pi times the radius squared. Okay, not the diameter, the radius. All right, so let's label some stuff and find some stuff. So what is the length of the diameter? Well, diameter would be AB. Do we know anything about the diameter? Well, we do know that it's twice the radius. Right? And the radius is how long? Well, the radius here appears to be 12. So that means the diameter would be 2 times 12, or 24 centimeters. Area. What is the area of the circle? Well, area is equal to pi times the radius squared, which would be pi times 12 squared. Now on your calculator, there's a pi button. Bring up our calculator. The pi button's over here on the left side. Press that, and then the first option is pi, so enter pi 12 squared. On that pi button, a lot. And so we have an area of 452.389 square centimeters. So 452.389 square centimeters. Example 3 says name all of the radius line segments. So that implies there's more than one. There may not be, but usually if we say name all, then there must be more than one. So what's one of the radii? Okay, AC is one segment. Okay, what's another one? DC. Okay. Are there any more? Okay, CB. Or DC. Notice I don't need to name them more than once. They're talking about the same segment, but we've got 3 different radius segments here. Okay, it says name all exterior points. Well, there's just one. This guy out here, F. Outside of the circle. Example 5 says name all interior points. Well, let's see here. What are points on the inside of the circle? E. Are there any other points inside the circle? Yeah, so C is also a point inside the circle. It happens to be the center, but it's also inside. So E and C. Okay. What is the length of the radius? How long is that radius again? So you're going back to it. Yeah, so it's 12 centimeters. Name the circle. Well, we name it by its center, so we call this guy circle C. And then finally, what is the circumference? Well, circumference is equal to 2 pi r, right? Or remember, it could also be pi diameter, right? Doesn't matter. We get, for 2 pi r, we get 2 pi times 12. Oops. Okay, that's 12. And notice for pi diameter, we would get pi times 24. Well, 2 times 12 is 24, right? So we have pi times 24 in both cases. So in both cases, they're equal to the same thing. So 2 pi 12, or again, we put pi times 24, we get the exact same thing. Multiplication is commutative, 75.3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now area was square units, right? And I guess I didn't talk about this exactly, but what do I mean by circumference? We haven't been. What do we mean by circumference? I mean, the area is if we color this in, right? That's area. So circumference is basically what? The perimeter of a circle. So for whatever reason, a long time ago, decided to start calling the perimeter of a circle circumference. Actually, it's probably the reverse. We probably called this first and then came up with the perimeter. So circumference is the distance around. And so what units would go on that? Would that be square units? No, it would just be regular old linear units. Okay. All right, so let's find the diameter, radius, circumference, and area of this circle. Well, let's find the diameter first. So inside the circle, we have a nice right triangle, and what do we have that we can use as right triangles? Pythagorean theorem. So if we call this diameter D, right, I'm just going to call it D. Well, which side of the right triangle is that? Yes, the hypotenuse, that's the C, basically, right? So the diameter is going to be the square root of 10 squared, going to be plus or minus? Plus 6 squared. And so our diameter comes out to, just putting out the calculator. Okay, so 11.6619 something. All right. So then the radius, well, the radius is the diameter divided by 2. Because there's 2 radii in a diameter, so radius must be the diameter divided by 2. And so 11.662 divided by 2 gives us a radius of about 5.831. I'm going to put units on these, inches. All right, so we got radius. Circumference is equal to pi times diameter, which would be pi times 11.662. And so I put that in my calculator, and we get 36.637. And notice here I'm writing down the rounded version, but really I'm just reusing the previous answer. So, and then area equals pi r squared. Get pi times, our radius is 5.831 squared. And so we get 106.816. And this time it's area, so we have square inches. Let's go back in and box in these answers here. So 11.662 is our diameter, radius, circumference, and area. Now notice what we have to, in order to find the circumference area, we need the radius, right? Or diameter. Find the diameter, radius, circumference, and the area of the circle. The perimeter of the square inscribed inside the circle is 36 feet. All right. Well, so if the perimeter is 36 feet, that means all the way around is 36. So how long is each side? Okay, so the side would be the perimeter divided by 4. So we get 9. So each side here must be 9. Right. How does that help us finding the radius or the diameter? Good. So corner to corner here is the diameter. Right, so that's the diameter. And we have a right angle because it's a square, so this is another right triangle problem. So we have a Pythagorean theorem problem. So 9 squared plus 9 squared, or 45, 45, 90, and we know that this must be, right, a root 2, so it must be 9 squared root 2, but we're going to get the decimal approximation. So square root of 9 squared plus 9 squared would give us 12.728. So there's our diameter. Our radius is half the diameter. All right, so 12.728 divided by 2. So I get 6.364. I'll go ahead and find the circumference and the area really quick. Alright, so write down your formulas. You can either, and again, for circumference, you can either use pi d or 2 pi r, they're the exact same. And for area, pi r squared. So use your calculators, find those values. Make sure you know where that pi button is. It's not moving. It'll be there all year long. And think about your units too. Know what those units should be. And when you finish, double check your answers with what I've got on the board, and then go ahead and get started on the assignment. It's the same thing. Here's the directions. Ask questions if you got them.